beautiful makeup lovers, thanks for stopping by today and a very warm welcome to this video where we're going to speak about the new Nomad Cosmetics Tokyo Harajuku palette. This is how it looks like. Freaking cute. I mean, look at this. Do you see that? Freaking cute. Also, heads up, I don't speak Japanese, so if I butcher any of the words that might occur while talking about this palette, please cut me some slack. Let me know in the comments down below if you know how to pronounce these words. I would love to know. I mean, I always like to learn a new language, so let me know. Anyway, this is the palette we're gonna be talking about. If you are not that new to my channel, you might know the drill. If you are entirely new, that's what we're gonna do. We're first gonna have a little info part on this palette where we're gonna just, have a little overview on it, and where I'm also gonna share the swatches with you, and I'm also gonna compare it to other pastel palettes that I have, more specifically to the Creepy Cute palette from Strobe Cosmetics and to the Spectral palette from Hallberg. After that, we're gonna create this look together, and after that I am going to share my thoughts that I have on this palette so far. Also, in the description box you will find timestamps that will lead you to each part of this video that I just mentioned, in case one is a little bit more interesting to you than another. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, welcome to the info part of the video. We are going to speak about the Tokyo Harajuku palette from Nomad Cosmetics. If you don't know Nomad Cosmetics is a US-based indie brand, and they usually base their bigger palettes, I believe most of the things they produce, they base on travel destinations that the founders and the creators have been to. And for instance, they have one on the Antilles, they have one on Berlin, they have one on Marrakesh, and now they have one on Tokyo, more specifically on the district Harajuku of Tokyo, because Harajuku is a district of Tokyo. That was redundant, but anyway. The palette comes in a packaging that's kind of like a cartoon, and it looks in the front just the same as the palette itself. And in the back of the cartoon it comes in, you have again the shades that you already find in the palette itself. And what I find is a really nice touch that they actually put the names of the shades that have a Japanese name in Japanese lettering. As you can see, for instance, this one here, this one, there are two shades which have English names, but the others all have Japanese names. And here they also inform you a little bit about what inspired them on making a palette on this district. They also tell you that this palette doesn't have parabens, no phthalates, do you say it like this? Phthalates? And also no mineral oil, and that it's cruelty-free and vegan. So if those are things that you're looking out for, then you can go ahead and still buy this. That's all you can find here. Also, you can find the ingredients here. In case that's something you want to keep, then you have to keep this packaging, because on the palette they are not mentioned. Let's get to the actual palette. The actual palette looks like this. As I said, in the front it's the same, and in the back it's just like a little basic info. And also here you can see the Tokyo Harajuku name spelled in Japanese, which I find is a really nice touch. I think that's really cool, and the palette is cute as hell. Cute as hell, honestly. Maybe I have bought it 50% because it has such a cute packaging. So let's get into the palette. And has a decent sized mirror that's really clear. I used it to do this look and I had no problems. You can really use it. It's really sharp, really clear. It's a good mirror, as in all of the palettes. And here you have the 15 shades. Now you cannot see it that nicely anymore because I already did the swatches, I already used it twice, so it's a little bit messed up, but I'm gonna leave a picture here where you can see how this palette looked like when it arrived to me untouched. And as you can see, it has this little imprints of little cat faces, like one that is like really happy, this little vampire kitty, and the one, I don't know if it's so visible in the photo, but there you can see like a little kitty that playfully sticks out its tongue. So it's really cute. I really like this little detail on their palettes. They really spend a lot of thinking on the details that they're gonna use in their palettes. I really like that. And well, let's get to the actual shades. Here you have this row here that is entirely true mattes. In their former palettes they didn't have too many true mattes, so they now included a whole row, so 5 of them, which I think is really nice. And then you have a row of kind of, they're not really mattes, but they are more like satin, a matte with a sheen. I don't know how to really say them. I wouldn't call them shimmers either, but they definitely have a little sheen. And I used, for instance, this one, Now is Forever, on my crease in another look that I did, and I found that it was fine. Like, I didn't see any huge sheen, a little bit, but not too much. And then you have here kind of like duochromy topper shades, which have more of a sheer base, and then they have, like, you know, a nice flip to a certain color due to multicolored sparkles in them. I think I have enough shown you those things now in the pan. Let's get into the swatches. I'm going to be reading the shade descriptions directly from the Nomad Cosmetics website, and here we start with the matte row of the palette, and from left to right we start with the color Kawaii, which is a matte ripe cantaloupe. Then we have the color Takenokozuku, which is a matte vivid violet. Then we have the color Melty Room, which is a matte buttercup yellow. Then we have the color Kakigori, which is a matte matcha mint. And then we have the color Visual K, which is a matte charcoal gray. The next row is the row that has more of a satin finish, and here we start off with the color on the left Lolita, which is a satin pink sherbet. Then we have the color Now is Forever, which is a satin sea green. Then we have the color Hanami, which is a satin tea rose pink. Then we have the color Gyaru, which is a satin orchid bloom. And then we finish the row with Kuroi Niji, which is a satin gray violet. So the next row is the one with duochromes of the palette, the glittery shades, and here the Nomad Cosmetics descriptions get quite creative, so let's get started. On the left with the color Decora, which is, according to Nomad Cosmetics, a festive fuchsia with candy colored crystals. Then we have Zaku Zaku, which is a lustrous lemon with lychee pink crystals. Then we have Takeshita Dori, which is a sparkling grape with radiant orchid crystals. Then we have Moshi Moshi, which is a prismatic lime punch with aqua crystals. And then we have Otaku, which is an iridescent pink sugar with ice blue crystals. Okay, let's now compare this palette, this pastel palette, to other pastel palettes that I have. And I think the most, known, the most loved pastel palette is definitely the Creepy Cute palette from Strobe Cosmetics. This is how it looks like, in case you don't know. And if I compare it with the Nomad Cosmetics one, I don't find that there's any kind of redundancy in there. Okay, yes, you have here an orange and you have here an orange as well, but this one is very different to this one. And also you have like kind of a mint pastel shade down here, and here you have that as well, and here kind of a darker version of it as well. So I don't think though that it's a dupe of it, so I don't feel that when you have the Creepy Cute palette you will get redundant shades when you buy the Nomad Cosmetics Tokyo Harajuku palette. So yeah, I don't think that anything here is very similar. Of course it's a pastel vibe, so the vibe is gonna be the same, but in different colors, let's say. And then we also gonna compare it to the Linda Hallberg Spectral palette, which is also a kind of pastel-y palette. And when you hold them up to each other, you see also you will not really get redundant shades. You have these two purple shades here. I don't want to break any of those palettes, You have this one here, which might look a little bit similar to this one. They are pretty close, but this one pulls a little bit more pink than this one. And then you also have this kind of mint shade here, which you also have here and here, but it's definitely also different, a different intensity. And then you also have this pink shade here, and you have one here, but they are very different to each other as well. So I also don't feel that when you have this palette you get redundant shades in the Nomad Cosmetics palette. So I don't feel that if you have those two pastel palettes in general together already, that you will be feeling like you got a useless new pastel palette. So if you're into pastels, I think it's a nice addition, even though you have these two already. So these were the palettes I wanted to compare the Nomad Cosmetics palette to. And I would say let's get now into this look, and afterwards we're gonna see each other for my thoughts. I'm starting off the look with the color Takenoko-zuku, and on a denser blending brush, which is big, I'm putting it in the outer part of my crease, packing it on rather than blending it out, and just blending the edges. Then I'm taking the color Kawaii, and I'm using this one in the same technique and the same brush on the inner part of my crease. Then I'm taking the color Visual K, and I'm using this on a small fluffy blending brush to darken up my outer V, and I'm pulling it into my crease, and I'm taking my time to build it up so I don't mud up the purple totally. Then I'm building up a little bit of the purple again, just to have it really out there. Then I'm taking the color Gyaru, and I'm using this on a brush to put it all over my lids. Then I'm taking again the color Visual K to kind of darken out the outer V a little bit more and blending it in with the pink that I just laid down on my lid. Then I'm putting a glitter glue all over my both lids. Then I'm taking the color Zaku Zaku with my finger, and I'm putting it on my lids pretty much all over except of the very outer part where the black is laid down. Then I'm taking a dense blending brush, and I'm kind of blending the edges between the duochrome shade and the dark shade. Then I'm taking a white liner, a pure white one, and I'm putting it on my lower lash line, and I'm blending it out later on with a fluffy brush to have it a little bit more smooth there. It's supposed to create a little bit of a gripping ground for the shades I'm gonna lay down, because I powdered down my under eyes. Then I'm taking the shade Kakigori, and I'm putting this in the inner part of my lower lash line. That didn't really work out for me, to be honest, so in the end I went in with the color Now is Forever, and I put it instead. Then I'm taking the color Lolita, and I'm putting this in the outer part of my lower lash line generously. Then I'm taking again the color Visual K to darken up the outer part of my lower lash line. Then I'm taking the color Otaku to put it down as an inner corner highlight on a wetted brush. Last for shadows, I'm taking the color Hanami and put it down on as my brow bone highlight. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm adding, of course, some mascara, a liquid liner, and then you can see here the finished look. This is how it looks like, with everything put down from a bit far away. And then I'm zooming you in, don't worry, so you can see what's going on. And I hope you can see this really beautiful duochrome effect of the color Zaku Zaku, which gives like a kind of yellow base, and it has this pink sparkle in it, which is very, very beautiful. So now it's time to share some thoughts on this palette. Just one more thing, I did one more look with this palette so far. I'm gonna leave it up here. I did post it on my Instagram, and this is what I did. So you can see I did basically a little bit the same kind of concept. I put like 2 colors in my crease. I used also two colors down on my lower lash line, deepened up everything with a dark gray in the palette, and then used one of those duochrome topper shades on my lid. I just thought this is a nice way, this kind of concept of look, to use a lot of different shades in one look, because I really wanted to try a lot of them. So I used quite some shades already in the palette. I did not use this shade here as yet, which is called Kuroi Niji. And then I also have not used the Takeshita Dori and Decora. Besides that, I think I've used, yeah, I used all the other shades. So there are 3 shades in here I haven't used yet. There are some faults on this palette for me so far. So these 2 shades down here, I had a lot of trouble building those up. Like this one, you might have seen in the video, I wanted to use on the lower lash line and went in the end instead with this one, because even on the white liner that I put as a base down there, it didn't really show up. I don't know, and I found it a bit difficult to see. I don't know, I have to use it like in the crease more, because maybe there it works different, but I feel like these 2 are definitely 2 shades that you have to put on a white base, and I don't really do this because I don't have a white base basically. And this one I had like in my inner corner in the look that I put up here, and it was really hard for me to build it up and to keep the pigment there as well. So these 2 shades, I don't know, I have to use them a little bit more, but I'm a little bit concerned about these 2. The other 2 in the pastel matte row, they were fine. I used them both today together, and I felt they laid down really nicely. I did have a little bit of trouble keeping the purple against the dark gray that you have here, but in the end it worked out fine. I mean, you can definitely see the purple, and you just have to adjust after you put the dark shade down. You have to adjust a little bit the purple again, which is fine. It's okay, it's pastels, so they are supposed to be a bit you know, subtle maybe. And then this row of kind of semi shimmers, semi mattes, with those I didn't run into any issues so far. I really liked how they performed. I don't think I would use them as a, you know, like shimmer shade just on the lid. I do have this one here, Yahoo, I have under the topper shade that I'm wearing today, and I felt like, I don't know, it didn't really have like a sheen to it, so those ones are definitely ones I would just use equally as mattes, or to use them as a base for this more sheer base topper shades that you have here. I think that makes a really nice combo. The only thing that's like for me, this shade Kuroi Niji is, I don't know, it's like a gray satin shade, like gray beigey kind of shade. I don't really know what to do with this. I don't know, like it's really not my kind of color. I don't know if I'm gonna get a lot of use out of it, but of course that's very subjective, so other people might really love this, but personally I would have loved if this would have been maybe like a corresponding shade to put under the Zaku Zaku shade here up here, because I felt like I really wanted to put a yellow under it, but this one was too sheer, and then there was no other shade really that was yellow. So I would have loved this would have been like a, if this would have been more like a golden shade maybe. And then this row up here, I found that row really beautiful. I don't feel like the camera picked really up how beautiful Zaku Zaku actually is down on my lid. I think it's very, very beautiful, but it's really hard to capture on camera. Also in the swatch section, it was really difficult to show the swatches, how beautiful they are. Moshi Moshi is really, really stunning. I had it yesterday on, that was in the look that I showed to you in the picture. And this one, I used it like I didn't have any kind of base under it, so I didn't really know yet that they were so sheer in the base, but I kind of felt like I still built it up enough to make it work on its own, so that one could also work on its own, and I think also that Decora and Takeshita Dori will also be able to work on their own. So this row, very beautiful. I have this one in the corner. I really like this. I'm really happy about this up row here because I haven't had shades like this yet in their palettes. and I really appreciate those. I love duochrome topper shades. I love glitter. I mean, this is the trend right now. I think every brand has kind of this kind of shades now starting to have in the palette, so I'm really happy they do as well. So I really love this row. This row I'm also good with, except of this shade that I don't really care for. This row has two problematic shades so far that I see could be problematic, but I'll update you how it goes for me with this palette. In comparison to the other pastel palettes that I showed you, the Creepy Cute and the Linda Hallberg Spectral palette, I feel this row is definitely even more pastel, even more this kind of milky undertone to the shades. So it's definitely more subtle than the Creepy Cute palette and less, even more pastel than the Spectral palette. I feel the Spectral palette is just partly pastel-y, so you have to give it that. And therefore, if you think like the Creepy Cute is maybe a bit too intense for you in the kind of how opaque the pastel shades are, then maybe you have a better pick with this one, because it's a little less intense. As you can see, like the purple here is not super intense. I feel the most intense is the orange, but I find it's in an okay way, like in a good way. The skin is still not peeking through, but you can really blend it out nicely. I really like that. But if you really want like super opaque pastels, and you are used to the Creepy Cute palette and even think, oh, the Creepy Cute palette could be a little bit even more pastel, a bit more opaque, then maybe this one is not too much for you so far. That's what I think of it so far. For me, I like it. I don't regret picking it up. I think it looks really cute. I really like the looks that I came up with so far. So I'm happy so far that I picked it up. Also, the look that I was wearing yesterday was lasting really long. I didn't have any glitter fallout as well. Like if you use those shades on your fingers with the glitter glue, I don't think, like these duochrome shades down here, if you use them on the glitter glue with your finger, applying them, I don't think you will have any issues. I didn't have any fallout today, and also yesterday during wearing it, it didn't like sparkle down and crack up on my face. After a while, that was all good. So long lastivity and non-flakiness throughout the wearing time is definitely given. Also, I think they blended out really nicely. Just with some shades, as I mentioned, it's a little bit difficult to keep the pigmentation. Okay, so these were all the thoughts that I have so far on this palette. Let me know in the comments down below if you ever picked up something up from Nomad Cosmetics. If you like Nomad Cosmetics and if you picked something up from them. If you like pastels, what are your favorite pastel palettes? I would love to know all this. Also, it would be great if you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you would consider subscribing to my channel. That would be awesome as well, so we can see each other in my next video. Bye bye!